Halito everybody, this is CT over at the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Adults Adopting Adults, Episode 2. This is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in. So we start off the episode with two new people, and these are two sisters, Felicia and Tawny, and they went through a lot with their mom, drugs and alcohol, dads in and out of their lives. One has a dad, one doesn't have a dad. They wound up in a foster care system, and their mom's best friend from high school, who's always been a part of their lives, used to babysit them. She later became a foster parent. And I can see in this relationship, the lady and her husband both became foster parents, I should say, for both of these girls. And I can see why this sort of dynamic works. I can understand it. I mean, I guess some people probably still wonder why, why adults? I mean, why do adults need new parents? But, everyone, their emotional process, emotional maturity, all those things are just different. We're all like, we're literally thumbprints, right? Everybody's a unique individual, and some people just really still have a very strong need for a parental figure, even in their adulthood. Some people, they're kind of good and they become very independent, whether they have their biological parents around them or not, but some people don't. So I guess I can understand it definitely once I heard the background of this particular situation. And the other thing I'd like to mention is that, the husband, I'm not getting like creepo vibes from him. You know what I mean? He just seems like, he knew the wife, or not the wife, but he knew Tawny and Felicia's mom since high school as well. I mean, him and his wife have been a couple for so long. They've just watched these girls grow up and have been actively a part of their lives for all these years. So to me, it makes sense. I mean, I can understand it. But what's going to be really interesting is like, okay, so they have a business. They have a restaurant. So those girls gonna like inherit the business if they don't sell it, at some point. Like, how does that work? And I don't remember if they had their own children or not. Do you guys remember? Have you been watching that? Yeah. And if they do, like, how does that work with the other kids? So yeah, that was kind of interesting. So now we have Kim and Vicky, and Vicky's first adoptive mom. So the first adoptive mom is, she's there for the birthday party, and, she keeps saying to Vicky how grateful she is, that she stepped in and been a grandparent to the little ones, to her grandchildren. But basically, I'm here now, so, you can see you later. She's like really, she's letting her know, basically, don't try and move in on my territory. I've made up with Kim now, and now that we're working things out, those are my grandkids. So now Kim decides to finally drop the bomb about the adoption process, and her mother is very upset, very, very upset. And then they start, like talking about different things that, about in the past and things like that. I really want to know, like, what created such a separation? Like, what happened? I mean, Kim will say things like, they used to yell at her and make her not feel like she was, wanted and things like that. So I think because, like, this is not really, this isn't Lifetime or so. This is A&E. Maybe they're just trying to not, like, be too salacious and not really, like, spill what happened. But I think there is something. There just seems to be something that went on when Kim was a little girl. And, she said it was the mom and the dad. So I'm like, what happened? And the mom, let's be honest, she looks a little bit rough, okay? So, I mean, was there drugs involved? Was she drinking? Did she have her in some improper environment? I mean, what happened? Like, I need more to understand, this, because it's like, it's different when you have like these other people that are on there and you don't get to meet their biological parents or the parents that raised them. And in this case, you know, Kim's mom is not her biological mom, but she raised her. So, you know, since she's there and she's available to be filmed and ask questions, then I feel like she needs to be a little bit more forthcoming about what went on in their relationship, because all they're talking about is, oh, you said don't talk to me again, and you know, and stuff. I mean, we need a little bit more than that to understand, because that's a really big deal to, you know, in an adoptive process, like a normal child and adult adoptive process, you know, an adult is making a choice to get this particular child, right? So, you know, usually, you know, you hear people say that they grew up in very loving homes. I'm not saying every adoptive case is like that, but I mean, that's usually what you hear. So when you hear the stories about, oh, I was abused and stuff like that, I tend to hear that more with foster parents than I hear that with adoptive parents. And because, you know, fostering and adopting are two different processes. So, you know, what happened? What happened? Kim, you need to let us know, because I'm not understanding this, because, you know, I would think that you would be close with the mom that chose you, right? She chose you, but you couldn't be even any further apart. So for Kim, it's like she's had two women let her down in her life and she can't get over it. So now, even as a, you know, 40-year-old woman, or almost 40, however old she is, she feels the need to have a mother. So yeah, we need a little bit more. I need some more background on that. So lastly, we have Christy and Danny, and they are, you know, Christy's upset because she doesn't want to talk about her personal business in front of Ileana, who's still a stranger, about a marriage that's in the tank, you know. And Danny's just completely being oblivious and just a selfish bastard in front of this little girl, or this young woman, right, Ileana. And, you know, they finally, you know, they finish with breakfast and stuff. And then they decide to go for a little walk on the property, a little stroll, you know, through the acreage, okay? And it's not looking like The Hills Have Eyes, first season of true crime detective down in Louisiana and Matthew McConaughey. I mean, it looked like some creepy, overgrown, trash filled. It was just gross. And you know, I mean, listen, if the trailer was like that, if the trailer wasn't even clean for this girl, if the trailer wasn't clean, can you imagine what the rest of that property looked like? That didn't even surprise me. Ileana's like, oh my God, I felt so bad for that girl, because I really honestly feel like Ileana is in it for the right reasons. I really think she just wants to have a family. She has a very, very unfortunate situation. She just wants a family, and Danny is just, he's trash, he's garbage. You know what, Christy, listen, get the guy out of there. Listen, did you see that scene where he's cost itemizing how much this is going to cost, and that, you know, like, you know, this ultrasound and this prenatal this, and like all her visits and stuff like that right in front of the girl, making her feel bad, okay? Listen, if you're broke and you don't have that much money to do this, and you underestimated the cost of what it's like, and now you find out that she's going to be a high-risk pregnancy, which means that baby can wind up in the NICU. Worst case scenario, a year. You know how expensive that is? You know how stressful that is? And this guy is on the road most of the time, so this is going to fall back on Christy, who's over there breaking down in the car, okay? Oh my God. Oh, I just can't take it. Oh, he's such a... Christy, get the hell out of there, okay? I know you like your cats and your whatever little wildlife you got running around that property, but listen, lady, you don't have to try and find another husband. Just leave his ass, okay? He is absolutely disrespectful. I mean, disrespectful beyond disrespectful, but to the point of actually involving a whole other human being who's in a vulnerable situation, who's pregnant, and now we find out with a high-risk pregnancy, who's from overseas, who has no family of her own. This man is garbage. I don't know what you saw in him. He has cheated on you repeatedly. Repeatedly. And then he brings this girl in. No fault of Ileana's. It's all on him. Christy, I'm talking to you. All right, Danny, you absolutely, look, like the young kids say, you're canceled, okay? You're out of here, Danny. You shouldn't even be, I mean, I don't know. Listen. He just should not even allowed to be doing anything like this because he is a predator. Listen, allegedly, but that is predatory behavior, is it not? I mean, come on. Like, I just feel bad for this girl because you can see, you know, Ileana, unlike on some other shows when people are getting red flags, this is not like some, well, I don't know, maybe it is, but this does not appear to be a heavily scripted, produced kind of show. I really do feel like Ileana is really in that situation, and you know, and Christy is really going through it with her husband. And if not, hey, kudos to production for fooling me, because I really feel like this is these people's real reaction. I think he's just a weirdo. That's all it is. And you know what, Danny, you can be a weirdo. You can be a weirdo. Go online. You can get yourself somebody in their 20s legally, you know, a legal adult woman, you know, consensual, and, you know, divorce your wife and then just date, you know, if that's what you want to do. You want to take care of young women, all right? If that's your thing, whatever. But don't take this girl, this young girl like this, because she's sitting there saying in her confessional that, you know, she spent her adult life in homeless shelters and that she will do anything to stay. Can you imagine what that's like? Have you ever had you know, never had a place to lay your head at night, and the desperation you feel to have to try to make sure you do everything you can to not get kicked out of that house? You know, have you ever had a baby who's been in a NICU and God forbid they wind up there longer than what the doctors say that they're going to be? The expense, the stress, trying to, you know, even like if you want to breastfeed, trying to breastfeed without a baby physically in the same room with you. I mean, it is a mountain of things, okay? So I am just really looking forward to seeing this guy just basically get divorced. Now, those scenes from for the next week, I have no idea what's going to happen, but oh my God, Christy, girl, do you need a good attorney? Because we will find one for you. All right, and listen, everybody. You guys take care, stay safe, and chipisa lacho.